Hello everyone, welcome back to an extra quick video. Today we are going to cover my Warlord team. For those that were curious about the setups and things that we run, obviously it is not finished by any means. However, if you are thinking about jumping into the Warlord Nation, it's not a bad idea to check out other players as well. ZZ on the Asian server is the bomb in his Warlord. So, I mean, there are certainly some templates to play with. Rule of thumb, though, is Xiaojia is probably the best transformation for this nation to date, mainly because of her damage debuff plus her ability to vanquish or vanish targets. But if you're going to run her, just be aware that the main protagonist, regardless of your transformation, is super duper squishy. So, Imperishable set will see them stay alive a little bit longer. I will run, of course, the Resurrection on this one because, again, she's pretty squishy. Seven Blade Sword, I mean, it's up to you if you want to run this or Blue Blade for additional tankiness, but because she pretty much dies most of the time within the first, out of all the heroes, her or Dao Qian are the ones that are going to die the first. Yeah, arguably probably her. I do run the Seven Blade Sword, or the Seven Star Sword, I should say, in order to do the counter attack or retaliation ability. Next will be Dao Qian. If you are thinking about running Dao Qian, she's fantastic when it comes to 7 star and with the Moonlight Fan because of her silence ability. Alternatively, Zhao Shi would probably be a better mythic era hero. I feel like Zhao Shi is probably somebody that you want to build. The guy that turns people into pigs. He's probably going to be a little bit more versatile thanks to the suggestion from Grandpa Ray. But I would probably say that Dao Chen, she does a job, especially with the Moonlight Fan if you're building her. Motochika is a very niche hero. If you are wondering about whether or not to run this guy, only run him at 7 star. Otherwise, I would probably run Jie or Zhu Jiang. Probably Zhu Jiang is probably going to help you out slightly more than Jia, but I mean, if you're wondering about it, the Bat Boy over here, he's going to poison plus give everyone a 30% damage buff. Pretty good, like, not going to lie. If you're thinking about buffs, bringing buffs to the table, he's probably going to outshine the other one. And by the other one, I always forget his name, Zhu Zhang. His guy here, he does an evasion buff, but he also does a AoE with a chance to reduce the target's rage by 2. So he's pretty good in terms of crowd control abilities. But for raw damage, raw DPS, I would definitely say you want to do the Bat Boy over here, Zhu, instead of Motochika if you haven't got him to 7 star. And arguably, you can swap him out anytime you like. Eventually, he will get replaced by our next mythic, which is going to be. Our next mythic for Warlord is going to be Yu. So, Yuji is going to go up to mythic class. So, make sure you've. Most players have already got him to 7 star anyway, but if you haven't, think about investing a little bit into this guy. From an epic perspective, if you're still at that point in the game, check out A Day in the Life of a Warlord. Uh, Excuse me, it's a bit of a beginner guide to the Warlord Nation. I do cover, of course, the legendaries and the epics in depth there. But of course, if you are curious, I would say Yuji is probably one of your better epics. This guy here, absolutely build him, use him. Huai he basically is a mini version of Ganing. He does front low. We'll show you. We'll show what he does. He does front row stun and he crits pretty high. Lots of crit damage and he stuns everyone in the front row. Pretty lethal. Dong Zhao, surprisingly tanky. Mainly I run him because he does rage reduction and because he can hit up to 4 targets with rage reduction, he's pretty lethal as well. But those are the ones that I would run early game. And of course, Hao Tao, your healer as well, to keep you alive a little bit longer as you build with your team. Your first hero that you build will probably be Dao Chan, but the first hero that I recommend strongly building for Warlord is going to be the War God himself, Lu Bu. Yes, I know Liao Zhang got the title of War God, but let's be honest, compared to Lu Bu, he's probably not that great. All jokes aside, though, I do love my War Gordon, the Yawning Way account. Eventually, this guy will become a god. I don't know what he'll be called. If he'll be a Celestial Lubu or Divine Lubu. But when he does that, he'll probably break the game in his own right. Something to look forward to as Warlords. So, for those that don't know, the Chinese server does have access to the most current version of the game, and they constantly evolve and re-evolve the legendary heroes, and of course the epic heroes into mythics, and the legendaries will be into some divine class after that. So eventually, we're going to see this bad boy shine again within the mythic era. However, he is pretty much going to be your damage dealer. So regardless of what people think or don't think about him, make sure you just build this guy. Running with imperishable sets if you can. A full set on him is better than a split set. So just keep that in mind. And of course, you probably want to be legendarying his talisman for additional attack. Dragonlance does do very good on him. If I'm honest, that extra bit of crit is pretty good for this guy, particularly in Chow Trials when you want him to stun as well. And of course, he gets a lot of attack boosts round one, so he's pretty phenomenal. Moving on, however, of course, everybody is curious about this guy. I did take the sword off him, and I'm going to test out something in a second. I got 3 trial attempts left, so I thought I'd make it a short video. But I am going to throw those on my trial team, and I'm probably just going to showcase a couple of. Technically, they are support class heroes, but I want to see how good they are in trials. For those that have watched other videos, you could probably guess which lineup I'm using. However, Dank Stash with his Heaven Sword is probably going to be is probably the best fit for him. Honestly, Dank Stash with his Heaven Sword is the best fit for this guy. He's going to hit a couple of times in a row. He's going to do damage debuffs. He's going to buff himself up. Honestly, if you aren't building this guy, you probably yeah. Yeah, you might need to jump into our Discord and have a lengthy chat with some of the Warlord players there. They'll try and convince you that Dank Stash is the best option. Lulin Kui are phenomenal after a certain star point. I would recommend focusing on Dank Stash now, though, to be honest, with the next event that's popping up. But eventually, you want to get Lulin Kui up to 5-star, and then from 5 stars, you can pretty much chill there until you build your Dank Stash up to 7-star, and then you can rework on her. And of course, by that stage, we probably will have Zhu at Mythic as well, so everything will work together. The reason being is eventually the game's going to give us Generation 1 Mythic shards, so at a certain point, you kind of don't need to rush as much because the game is eventually going to start to give you those shards. The game is certainly going to start giving you Generation 5 Legendary Shards a lot more, as well as Generation 4 Legendary Shard selection boxes. So don't feel like you're too far behind. A prime example is, of course, the Anniversary event. So if you, of course, are in our Warlord Nation and you haven't already got that yet, and you are going to spend some money, make sure you're getting your Heaven Sword out of the Annihilation event. You can sort of work on your Thunder Pony, and of course, if you still haven't built Dank Stash and you want to spend a bit of cash, this would be a great event to grab those ones as well. Not that I encourage spending, but in all honesty, you should be building Dank Stash if you haven't already done so, and you want to spend money. If you're looking for good value, Dank Stash is the best value out there. Annihilation event, of course, make sure you're focusing on building your Heaven Sword if you haven't done so already. And if you have already done that, make sure you start to grab these selection chests to keep building up your arsenal of legendary weapons. Anyway, now that we've covered basically my setup, and I mean, you could pause at any stage throughout the video to check them out. What we're going to do though is change you. We're going to grab you. I'm going to co-opt you with, it really doesn't matter who we co-opt. I'm just going to co-opt you with the Emerald Lara. And for the duration of this video, I'll just throw Serpent Halberd on you. Now, we could probably go ahead and enhance you a little bit. We do have quite a lot of you just chilling, so we might as well see if we can get you all the way up to max. Beautiful. Really, that just levels up some base statistics of it. Nothing too fancy. I would very much like to be able to grab the rest of the shards to level you up, but I feel like my side project is calling me to finish off. I kind of want to finish off the full set. So the team that I'm going to be running from now on for the trials, at least in the front lineup, is going to be main protagonist with the 3 set for imperishable gear, Dao Chan with the Moonlight Fan, and a full set of Vanquisher. And of course, last but not least, is going to be Li Lingqi with the Mythic Sword, full set of Vanquisher. So we're going to see how we go now that we've made some minor adjustments. I will say this in terms of just the raw ability of this team, Leland Kui with the ability to shield them just adds that layer of tankiness. Imperishable set on your main protagonist, particularly if it's Xiaojia, is going to allow her to stay alive long enough to vanquish the target. She actually does surprisingly good damage, which we're going to see at the end of the match. If there's an oh shit situation and we all die, our front row all dies, then basically Lubu, Dank Stash, and Motochiku is just going to kill them anyway. Like, let's be honest. I will say this though, they generally come around your power level. So it's not like it's going to be always a cheesy situation, which is actually refreshing. Sometimes they may even go before you, like this instance. So just be aware that these guys can get a little bit tough. I will say this though, I am definitely excited to see just what we can do, particularly with the mythic sword on Lu Kui. I haven't really run that on her, and I know she doesn't do a double hatred or anything like that, which is fine. But oh, she got hit, but she did have hatred stacked up, and she managed to kill you. Interesting. Always testing old mate Lu Bu, eh? Alright, so we did manage to get that exile off. And then round 3, she's already got full rage again, which is good. And she's got her mythic ability, so she should do... She's got 8 stacks of rage. Woo! She got 8 stacks of rage. That's not good that she got silence, but she does have 8 stacks. It sucks. It sucks. She's silenced. She can't use them. It's fine. Hopefully you get out of this soon. Damn it. She had 10 stacks of rage at that stage. Oh, going special now. And she killed him. I don't know. I'd like to see her when she didn't get debuffed. Debuffed with the silence there. Let's see what she can do here. So again, they're stronger than us and they're going first. Please don't freeze me. Thank you. Actually, remind me. Say, just yell at the screen, PB, show me the bloody statistics next time. Don't silence me. Again, you silence me. There you go. The power of Moonlight Dancer. Come on. Marshmallow. I love that name. Can we finally kill you now? There we go. And of course, Sunland Bands, Dancing Chaos. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say that the halberd is nice on this character. Just generally speaking. Uh, I mean, I don't see a huge difference between her using the Heaven Sword and the halberd. To be fair, even though you can't see that. Um, Yeah, I mean, if you want to like try and maximize your team, well, obviously you just throw on your mythic weapon on your mythic. But yeah, interesting. Always with the silences. This game, I swear. Come on. I mean, look, uh, yeah, that's handy. I would say that the fact that the Heaven Sword proc to finish the opponent under think it's 20% or 30% HP. That's worthwhile. That's definitely worthwhile using in that situation. Let's have a look to see how much she did. Did a whopping amount of damage, but I mean, look, PB still did a billion damage. Dao Chan really just there for the support. to take the hits, but certainly PB did some good defensive there. I mean, she took three. Yeah, she took a bit of damage. Like I said, Dao Chan took a bit of damage. Yeah, she took like the most damage. Not too bad, not too bad. But of course, the old mate Lou's daughter is the star of that attraction. What up about here? What about this side? They didn't really do too much damage to us. But realistically, I just wanted to showcase you what I think would be great for a trials team. Of course, I'm open to suggestions. Hit me up in the comment section down below. Zhaoxi, of course, is going to be a pretty cool addition. Someone did ask me, can you rig this? The answer is no. It's all random, my friend. There's literally nothing you can do to get more gold or a better code. You just, you just hope for the best. We actually low roll pretty bad with the gold just then. Hope for the best, and you never know. You might win something, you might not win something. I think both accounts have won something actually. Both accounts have won the jackpot, so I'm not too worried about that. Lastly, we'll close with charm. So for Warlord, I mean, like most nations, I would probably say it's pretty much the same. The only variation you're going to get is the ones that are specific for your nation, and of course, combinations for that. But if you are starting out, of course, Ground Spike is going to be your best for PvP. Taking away that full rage can be quite lethal. Of course, volley is not too bad to remove all debuffs from the enemy team. Savior's a charm again repels any debuffs on your team, and of course heals you a little bit. Not really necessary, to be fair. I really don't see the versatility of it all that much. But there are players that swear by it. There are certainly players that swear by it in this game that are in the billions and hundreds of billions. So, I mean, it's up to you. Open to your interpretation. Moonlight Dance is a must. I absolutely strongly recommend that you go ahead and build Moonlight Dance on a Warlord team. It is pretty much a stock standard must build. Demon's Charm is probably a hot number 2 for a Warlord team, to be fair. Of course, you're already halfway there with half of the combination. You just need Gal and, of course, Bunny Girl for Moonlight Dance. But yeah, honestly, not a bad one. AoE ability, pretty stock standard, does a damage reduction, always nice. A lot of our abilities, you'll notice, do some sort of debuff to the enemy, so damage reduction is fantastic. This one, of course, does a damage reduction as well. So essentially speaking, if you are thinking about building your mythic ones, yeah, sure, they're great. Eventually, you'll want to build them anyway. This one does attack and defense to the back line. So your targets in the back line get attack and defense buffs. So it's very situational depending on your formation, which we'll show you in a second. But in terms of this one, I mean, this one's probably the one that steals the cake. As the Nile said, of course, the extra 50% damage to all allies for 2 rounds is great. Does burning ability and, of course, hits 4 targets. Certainly worth investing in if you do have the merit badges and the inclination to do so. I would say that, yeah, that combo Starlight Pierce is pretty good. Pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I am quite enjoying using it in slot 1, Moonlight in slot 2, and of course we have the Piercer one in slot 3, followed up by Demon's Roar to round things out in slot 4. Of course, Moonlight targets the player with the highest rage, so it gives it Demon's Roar in slot 4 works pretty good with that. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you if you want to take this advice, if you want to do it your own way. Absolutely, go ahead with it. One thing we'll do before we make any sort of mistakes later on in the game, because PB will forget to swap these ones out. I definitely would recommend. I would definitely recommend Heaven Sword on the Generation 2, my friends. Definitely. Gen 1, as you see, it has its advantage, particularly in Trial for that finishing move. Um, it did finish at least one or two of the enemies. So, I mean, it certainly has value if you are going to run Lu Ling Kui. Of course, if you just want to go stock standard, Lubu, Dank Stash, and whoever as your third, Zhao Shi maybe, or even Lu Ling Kui as your third. I mean, it's a pretty robust team. Of course, you're probably going to wipe them out anyway. But if you are thinking of just spicing things up, getting a little bit adventurous, you can always try my method as well. Now, is there anything else that we need to cover? Is there any other topics? Trials, unfortunately, is finished for me. We can't do that any further. We can't. Well, I can do these trials. I can't do Warriors trials. I think we maxed that out. So we got to the highest floor that we could get to, which is a little bit disappointing. Floor 84. Is there anything else? Glory Hall? Glory Hall. I really don't like Glory Hall. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like Glory Hall. In this lineup, this is my pretty much my stock standard lineup, and I'll explain to you why I decided to run it like this. Mainly because I prefer to get the silencers off early as possible. Motor Chica has an ability to dodge, but if you're wondering, Zhuge or Zhang, Zhang, the guy that hits everyone and does a rage debuff, he's probably better at slot 1. Dao Chan works at slot 2 because of the silence ability, of course. I run my protagonist slot 3 for the damage reduction. But the main reason that I run my back row the way that I run my back row is because of the buffs that we're going to get. So, our first tier, this one is going to give us a all damage debuff. So that means that Lubu is going to get it, and of course, Dominant Stash is going to get it. This one is, of course, going to silence everyone. But by the time it comes around to the third charm ability, this one, then my back row, of course, is going to start to get some damage debuffs by the time they get their rage back. So it is kind of important to time your raging abilities with your damage debuffs and your damage buffs, particularly the damage buffs for this team. And that's probably why I decided to run it the way that I do. So just to reiterate, the reason being is by turn number 4, this will go off, which means that my back row, i.e. Lubu and of course Dominant Dank Stash, are in fact going to get the damage buffs, which is only 15%. So it's not a huge deal, but at the end of the day, you kind of have to think of it like, so what is the rest of the team doing? Well, Dao Chan does a crit resistance debuff, so she's kind of important to go before the other ones. And of course, Lu Ling Kui does her own, shielding abilities and things like that. Dank Stash, arguably, you could run Dank Stash as a pure support and put him in slot 1, just so he does his damage debuffs and stuff like that. It's absolutely up to you. But I feel like the main reason that you want to run this in the PvP arena is just to maximize the burst damage potential. If you have all your best heroes in slot 1, 2, and 3, you're going to notice that yeah, you're going to hit like a wet noodle round 2. You'll start to notice that about certain natures and certain nations. Once they blow their load round 1, by round 2 they're going to hit like wet noodles. So you kind of want to give them the best advantage as possible. And again, that's probably why I run the way that I run it. But let me know in your opinions. How do you run the rest of your team? Are you having any sort of questions about it? Do you have any sort of concerns about your Warlord Nation? And of course, if you haven't already checked out the other ones, A Day in the Life of Wei, Shu, and Wu, they're in the channel somewhere, hiding somewhere. You'll have to go and dredge them up. But if you're in the Discord, they are in the beginner's guide. But I think we might just leave it at that, and I'll shut up and let you watch. Come on, kill them. Let's go. Alrighty then. Let's grab some treasure chest. Give me the jackpot. Let's go. That's what we needed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.